The Culture Pop Podcast is brought to you by the law offices of Jacob M. Ronnie.
Accident or injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
Hey, it's Mase. If you or a friend or loved one is injured in an accident, the first person you should call is my friend Jacob. When I did this, Jacob was great. He helped me by talking through the next steps, which really put my mind at ease. When you're injured in an accident, you got to have an expert. That's why you call Jacob, just like I did. Call Jacob, 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB, or visit calljacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Culture Pop Podcast. I'm Steve Mason, along with Sue Kalinsky. Sue, great guest today. The great multi-award, he's won so many awards. Bryan Cranston, friend of mine, friend of ours, is going to be on the show. Talk to him about ARGYLLE and a bunch of other stuff that he's been working on. What have you been working on?
I've been not working. Well, I'll tell you what I'm not working on. I'm not working on my golf game because of the weather. So that's a drag. Still working on all the projects that we always talk about.
Sure.
So still working on the dock and still have irons in the freezer.
In the freezer?
In the freezer. That's a joke that somebody once said to me.
You should put them in the fire.
Well, they're not in the fire. They're in the freezer.
In the freezer.
But they're still alive.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I want to remind everybody who is watching, everybody who is listening, that we love your help in promoting the show. So if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can subscribe to the show. That's great. Leave us a 5-star rating. That's great. And then write a positive review. That's even better. And if you're on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Culture Pop Podcast channel. Then you can scroll down and leave us a comment or a review or a joke or whatever you got. All this stuff helps us as we continue to grow the show. So I've upgraded the studio situation here. The lighting is like all brand new. We're redoing the studio. Then we're going to redo your house, and we're going to continue to build this thing.
Because we apparently have to do something with the lighting here.
Yes, I would love to get you
my ring.
Some lighting. You've got your ring light working, and that's good.
Yeah.
But once we get the great, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait.
Cool. All right. So SAG Awards. By the time this comes out, will be a couple of days before the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and this is the awards that I actually have a vote in. You have a vote, right, Sue?
Mm-hmm.
You're on the SAG. You're on SAG, right?
I am in SAG.
Yeah. So I went through and actually did my voting last night. I'm not going to tell you exactly who I voted for, but I'm going to tell you who I think should win.
Okay. I didn't do my voting yet.
You haven't done it yet. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. So let's start out with Best Actor. Best Actor, Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Colman Domingo, so good in Rustin, Paul Giamatti is Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy, or Cillian Murphy, I don't know which one, for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright, who's very, very funny in American Fiction. So who do you think should win?
I think Paul Giamatti should win. I'd love for Colman Domingo to win.
Oh, he was great on our show, right? He's fantastic in that movie.
He was look, they were all great, but he was so great. I mean, he's the movie.
Yeah.
He is that movie. So
yeah, it's a great movie. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. It's called Rustin. I am all in on Bradley Cooper. Mm-hmm. I rewatched Maestro last week, and his performance, by the time you get to the Mahler's second orchestra and him direct or conducting, I mean, I think it's an amazing performance, and totally forgot that was Bradley Cooper. Completely forgot.
Right.
I think, by the way, Giamatti or Cillian Murphy will wind up winning. I think it's kind of a 2-horse race there. Right. Okay, outstanding performance by a female in a leading role. Annette Bening for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Okay, now I have not seen Poor Things, but I hear Emma Stone is amazing in it. I would like to see Lily Gladstone win, but I think Emma Stone is going to win.
You know, yeah, you got to see Poor Things. It is such an inventive, original performance. It's not like it's sort of like a Frankenstein kind of situation. This is the Yorgos Lanthimos movie. And so she's learning how to be a person and learning how to be a woman. And it's fascinating to watch. I think she stole it. My two favorite performances this year are Emma Stone and Bradley Cooper. I think both are exceptional. Now, who's going to win? I think Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone will wind up winning. I'm going to guess and root for Emma Stone. You got to see that movie.
Yeah.
You will love that movie. Okay, supporting actor. Sterling K. Brown. He was awesome in American Fiction. Willem Dafoe, so good in Poor Things. Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. And Ryan Gosling in Barbie.
I'm going to go with Sterling K. Brown.
He's great.
And I really want him to win. I have a feeling that Robert Downey Jr. may win, but I really want Sterling K. Brown to win.
I think Sterling K. Brown was fantastic. It's a great performance. Robert Downey Jr. And here's the other. I went back and watched Oppenheimer again over the weekend. Robert Downey Jr. is so good in that. I mean, it's funny. He made a joke at the last award ceremony. Somebody told him he's so subtle in Oppenheimer, and he said, well, that means I must be really too big the rest of the time. He gives just a straight ahead meat and potatoes kind of performance. It feels very, very real. His scenes are all in black and white, which I think actually adds to sort of the periodness of it. I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to win, and I'm rooting for him to win. I think that's given what happened in his life, the ups and the downs and all that. It's amazing that he's gotten to this point. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a case for everybody to win.
Oh, for sure. All right. Female supporting. This is outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role. Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple. Penelope Cruz for Ferrari, which I will acknowledge I did not see. Jodie Foster in Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers, who she's been a guest on the show.
I have not seen The Color Purple. I have seen Ferrari, and Penelope Cruz was very, very good.
Was she?
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. I think it's Divine Joy Randolph all the way. I want her to win, and I think she's going to win.
I love her scene, and we talked to her about it in the kitchen, where she has her emotional break about the death of her son. And what I remember from that conversation is that she said they did 2 takes. They did a first one that was a little buttoned down. And then they did one where she went bigger and it was more of an emotional breakdown. And they used the first take. And the first take is beautiful. They didn't need a second take. It was subtle and real and honest and not over the top and felt genuine. So I love that story, and I love Divine Joy Randolph to win right there. All right, Best Picture, American Fiction, Barbie, The Color Purple, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer. This is Best Ensemble. So it's the equivalent of Best Picture at the SAG Awards.
Okay, Best Ensemble. Huh. Where's mine? Same again?
American Fiction, Barbie, Color Purple, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Oppenheimer.
Why don't I have this here?
I don't know. Maybe SAG didn't send you the full ballot.
No, I'm just looking at what I printed out myself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by a cast. Okay.
Yeah, by a cast.
I got it. Okay. Wow. I'm going to go with Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Oppenheimer, there are so many great actors in Oppenheimer, and not in all cases do they have large roles. I mean, Jason, Florence Pugh floats through, and Josh Hartnett is really good, and Kenneth Branagh shows up, and it's like, it's one great actor after another. Everybody wants to work with Christopher Nolan. For me, it is going to win Best Picture also. It's going to win Best Ensemble here, and I think it will win Best Picture at the Oscars. All right, let's do TV.
Okay.
Male actor in a television movie or limited series. Matt Bomer for Fellow Travelers. John Hamm for Fargo. David I never say his name right.
Lolo? I don't know. I can't say his
Oyelowo.
Okay.
I believe. For Lawman Bass Reeves. Tony Shalhoub for Mr. Monk's Last Case. And Stephen Yeun for Beef.
I think Stephen Yeun is going to win.
See, I didn't see Beef.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, God, it's so much fun.
Am I missing out?
I think so. It's so unique. It's so great. Yeah, he was wonderful in it. And look, Matt Bomer was great. John Hamm was great.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub is always great.
Yeah,
I didn't see Bass Reeves, but Stephen Yeun, he's just phenomenal, and I think it all seems to be leaning towards that.
I think he is going to win. I think he's going to win. I'm rooting for Matt Bomer because I loved Fellow Travelers. It was great. Such a great show. Such a great
terrific.
show. But I agree with you. I'm pretty sure Stephen Yeun is going to win. Female actor in a television movie or limited series. Uzo Aduba for Painkiller. She's from Orange is the New Black, right? Catherine Hahn for Tiny Beautiful Things. Brie Larson for Lessons in Chemistry. Belle Powley for A Small Light. And Ali Wong for Beef. I know you saw A Small Light.
I did. So what's the actress?
She played Meep.
Oh, wow. I tell you, I think Ali Wong may win, but I really want, what's her name? I can't find it. Belle Powley. She is phenomenal.
Is she?
Yes. So I want her to win, but I think Ali Wong's going to win.
Yeah, I think Ali Wong is going to win. And honestly, I have not seen any of these shows. So when I filled out my ballot, I left this purposely blank.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to just vote for the sake of voting.
Right.
I would watch A Small Light, but I can't sell it at home. One is just not going to go along with a Holocaust era drama.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very, very sad series, but the acting is incredible.
Okay. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a drama series. Brian Cox, Succession. Billy Crudup, The Morning Show. Kieran Culkin, Succession. Matthew McFadyen, Succession. Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us.
Wow. It's a real toss-up between Kieran Culkin and Pedro Pascal. And I think Kieran Culkin's going to win, but I'd like Pedro Pascal to win.
I also would like Pedro Pascal to win. Now, how much of The Last of Us have you continued watching The Last of Us?
I have maybe like 5 more episodes.
It's so good. It's such a good show. I'm rooting for Pedro Pascal. I actually have a feeling Matthew McFadyen's going to win. He had a great year.
Oh,
right down to that very last scene where Shiv puts her hand on his hand.
In
the limo. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And just being the guy that figured it all out and won the game. I think probably Kieran Culkin's the favorite. I'm rooting for Pedro Pascal, but Matthew McFadyen could definitely win. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a drama series. Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show, Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, and Sarah Snook for Succession.
Wow.
This is one where I've seen all 5 performances.
It's a tough category. I would love to see Bella Ramsey win.
Yeah.
I don't know if she will. I would give it to Sarah Snook.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is Sarah Snook. Sneaky Elizabeth Debicki as Princess Diana in The Crown. I thought she was great.
Oh, gosh, she was so good.
Yeah, she was really good.
She was really good.
It's too bad they're in the same category. I think it's Sarah Snook's year, but Elizabeth Debicki was awesome. And Bella Ramsey is fantastic.
And I don't know, when it comes to SAG Awards, I mean, what is the percentage of people who win the SAG Award that go on to win the Oscar? I mean,
it's very high. Yeah, because think about this. The SAG Awards represent SAG-AFTRA, and that is the largest voting block in the Academy. So you can usually tell a lot by who wins the SAG Awards. Like, I would bet that whoever wins Best Actor at the SAG Awards is going to wind up winning Best Actor at the Oscars. That's, I think, because their actors are the biggest part of the Academy.
Right.
All right. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a comedy series. Brett Goldstein, Ted Lasso. Bill Hader, Barry. Eben Moss-Bacharach for The Bear, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and Jeremy Allen White for The Bear.
I just hate that The Bear is in the comedy category. It just drives me crazy.
It is odd.
And I know it's dark.
And by the way,
comedy.
and Barry should not be in the comedy category either.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not a laugh riot.
I think Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Allen White also. Yeah. By the way, I love Eben Moss-Bacharach.
Mm-hmm.
He's great as Richie on The Bear.
He's great.
But I think Jeremy Allen White's the guy. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a comedy series, Alex Borstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quentin Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Ayo Edebiri for The Bear, and Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso.
I think Ayo Edebiri.
I do too. I mean, I love The Bear. I just love the show.
Mm-hmm.
And did you see her host Saturday Night Live?
I didn't.
Ayo Edebiri, she hosted it last. She's great. She's really, really great. Comes from, she tried to do stand-up, did some improv, and it all showed on Saturday Night Live, I thought. But I think Ayo Edebiri is going to win. And then two more. Outstanding drama series, The Crown, The Gilded Age, a show I have never seen.
I haven't seen it.
The Last of Us, The Morning Show, and Succession.
Succession.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Succession is, where does that rank all time for you?
It's definitely in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in the top 5 for me. And I just think I am going to miss it. It's interesting because a lot of shows hang around too long. This one, I'm going to miss it. I could have watched more, but they left us wanting more, which I think is a really powerful way to end a series.
Yeah, I mean, there are shows that ended in such a perfect way.
Yes.
That I don't know if we didn't. I wasn't like, oh, I needed more, but I just missed the show.
Yes.
Like I miss Breaking Bad.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I miss Mad Men. And I'll miss The Sopranos, So, and The Wire,
The
shows
Wire,
like,
so good, yeah.
So.
All right, outstanding comedy series. Abbott Elementary, Barry, The Bear, Only Murders in the Building, and Ted Lasso.
The Bear.
The Bear, I agree. The Bear. If you had a second pick there, what would it be?
I never ever watch Abbott Elementary. So,
I've watched it. I don't watch it regularly. I catch it on Hulu sometimes.
Barry.
Yeah, I would go Only Murders in the Building. Makes me laugh a lot. I love Steve Edwards and Martin Short, and Meryl Streep was on it this year, and Paul Rudd was on it this year. It was a really fun series. So if not The Bear, I would say Only Murders in the Building, but I do think it will be The Bear. All right, well, that'll be fun. I love awards season. It's like my favorite time. It's my favorite thing. So we've got a great guest today, Sue. He is a multiple Emmy winner, a Golden Globe winner, a 2-time Tony winner, and an Academy Award nominee. And his current project is the Matthew Vaughn directed spy send-up Argyle. Bryan Cranston joins us. Hey, Bryan, what's going on, man?
Mason, I count the days, minutes, and hours since I see you from time to time, but you're as handsome as ever.
Well, as are you. As are you, Bryan.
God,
as are you.
We're getting senile in our old age here.
Do you want me to leave and then come back?
No, Sue, stay.
So we were texting while you were at the Rams-Lions game.
Right.
And by the way, I see you in like Stan Kroenke's body. You and Stan are really tight now. Are you running with Stan?
I'm not running with Stan. He comes to me for consultations every now and then.
Of course.
And Les Snead, comes over to me all the time going, should I trade someone? What should I do? Tell me. And I said, hold firm. And I said, Les, you got a draft choice for the first time since Sean McVay has been here. You've got a first-round draft choice. What are you going to do with it? And it wouldn't surprise me if he traded it away before the draft.
He likes to say, F them picks.
F them picks. I know. I think he has a T-shirt that says that.
Yes, he does. I've got a mug that says F them picks. Yeah.
Goodness. Well, no, but it's fun. I've been a Rams fan for the longest time. I was born and raised in LA, so I've always known the Rams to be there until they moved. First, Georgia Frontiere moved them down to Anaheim. And it was like, oh, really? You're becoming geographically undesirable to me. And then she moved them out of the state to St. Louis. And I was like, well, fine, go, leave then. I don't need you. And then they came back and thoroughly expected me just to fall in line and take them back. They came back to me. I can even smell St. Louis all over them. And it's like, I don't know who you think I am, but they're so damn pretty that I just couldn't resist, So, they were part of my childhood, and I came around and said, all right, I'll take you back. Promise never to leave again.
Yes, exactly. It's funny because I do not recognize the St. Louis years. Like when I was a little kid, people question this. When I was a little kid growing up in Toledo, Ohio, I wanted to have a team that was in the playoffs every year. And my brother was a Raiders fan, and my mom was a Pittsburgh fan, and my dad was a Dallas fan. So I said, you know what? The Rams were in it every single year. So about 1974, I said, I'm going to be a Rams fan. And then when I finally got out here, the Rams immediately left and moved to St. Louis. So now that they're back, it feels strangely cosmic that I am on the radio station that is the home of the Rams.
I don't think it's directly your fault that the Rams left when you arrived.
Correct.
Sure.
Yes.
Some of the blame has to be put on you, but not entirely.
That's rough, though. I mean, I grew up in New York, so I never had a team that left me. That would have been very sad.
You may have wished that some of those teams left you.
Yes. I mean, for decades.
Yeah.
So you were at that game. Sue and I were just talking. I get stuck in games, so I'll remember a particular moment. And for me, it's 3rd and 13 when multiple penalties were missed, including pass interference on Puka Nacua, and then 4th and 13 and Sean punted. Shouldn't have punted there. Should have gone for it. But not that I'm stuck in that moment.
Well, how many minutes were left when it was 4th and 13?
7.5.
And what was the yard line? Where were they?
They were at the Detroit 47. Detroit 47.
Yikes. That's 7.5 minutes. That's a lot of time. I disagree with you there. I think the punt was right. It's funny because when you're there in person and you're watching the game, I didn't see the missed calls. I had to look up quickly to the monitor to see if they replay that, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, so I thought the officiating was horrible. I think it's been bad. And it seems like it's worse this year than it's been in prior years. But there was a play where Stafford, there were 3 roughing the passer penalties in one play. He got hit twice, and then he got stomped on the chest. And they missed every one of them.
Wow.
And that was a big turning point. And I think I may have said this to Steve. I think what should happen is that they need a ref up in the booth because they miss so many plays. They need somebody who has that perspective.
Yeah. Well, the back judge is there, and you think that they'd have enough, and they actually. How many years ago did they add another official?
Oh, it's probably been 10 years since they added an official. Yeah. I just don't understand why. Obviously, when I watch it on TV, I can see the review. I don't need to go to the review. It's very clear on TV. I don't know why they don't just immediately look at TV and say, oh, we see the right call. Instead, they go to New York, they look at an iPad or a Microsoft Surface, and the official, it's such an antiquated way to deal with an important play in a game.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of fun. I think there's a decision to be made by the coach. Do you throw the red flag? If you miss it, you're going to lose a timeout, which is costly. So the challenge, I think, is kind of interesting. It gives the fans and the players a chance to pause for a second. Everyone's looking up at the replay and you see it. And I don't know, I think it actually adds a little level of excitement to the game.
So we both saw Argyle over the weekend.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, great fun.
By the way,
yeah,
perfect transition to go.
Did you think that was smooth?
Through a smooth, man.
Yeah,
you are a professional.
Thank you. I'm proud of my transitions.
Yeah.
So Matthew Vaughn did his thing, right? Matthew Vaughn is this candy colored, crazy fight sequences, all that kind of stuff. And you play the bad guy. You're the nicest guy in the world, but you played a lot of bad guys in your career. Where's all that come from?
Well, I think the bad guy thing comes from just my craggy face. I mean, if you were to look at my face right now, I know we're doing a podcast, but for those of you who are actually watching this, and I'll get close to the camera.
Oh yeah,
I have resting mean face, so I don't have to do anything, and all of a sudden you're going, that guy looks mean. Here we go. Here's resting mean face.
Oh God,
and the mustache.
You're
also
right.
adds to that, I think.
Well,
too.
the mustache itself is mean.
Yes.
It's a
it's
nasty
villainous. It's villainous.
Yes, and I can also then twist it like cartoon villains.
Yes,
Dick Dastardly. Dastardly? Was that his name?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this. You've worked this year with Matthew Vaughn, who's got a very specific vision, and you also worked with Wes Anderson on Asteroid City. These are both guys that have a vision. They're tours. Is that kind of what draws you sometimes to a project?
It is. The story itself is compelling, and that's usually the first thing in a conventional project that I look for is, what's the story? Is it compelling? Did it move me? Am I obsessing about it? Am I daydreaming about it? Going from that story to the character, is there something that I can do, or is it derivative? Have I played this character before? If I have, then I'm a little less interested. But then the director's vision comes in and says, oh no, we're going to blow it out. And like with Matthew Vaughn and Argyle, it was, no, I just want you to go crazy. But, crazy for me, I always feel like I have to ground my character as villainous and over the top as Argyle is in the best of ways. There still feels like I need to ground that guy and know who that person is to be able to play him. So, and that Wes Anderson is the same thing. It's like they are auteurs. And, one of the first things you learn in any acting class is the trust exercise. And you fall back into a scene partner's arms, and they catch you and lay you down on the ground. And that's to teach you need to trust who you're working with. And we certainly do. I wouldn't work with people who I dislike personally, because again, life's too short. So it's, I want to do good work and work with real visionaries. But it's, you kind of navigate your way through. And I also like to do theater. So it's like theater and film, television shows. I kind of, make my way through without any real knowing pattern ahead of me. I just kind of feel it at the time.
I want to ask you a question from an actor's perspective. Steve and I interviewed Gideon Glick, who played Bradley Cooper's love interest in Maestro. And he was saying that Bradley Cooper had requested that they stay in character even after after a scene was done. But anytime they were just hanging out together in between takes, he wanted the both of them to stay in character. Have you ever requested something like that, or has that ever been requested upon you?
Most of the time, I remember when I did, I played Lyndon Johnson in All the Way for HBO. And I think for the most part, because I look at myself in the mirror and I saw him, and I felt like in order not to let him slip away during a break, I needed to hold on to him. And I think that's what Bradley was doing. I think he felt he needed to keep a handle on him so that he didn't make a mistake and go back into a scene and have the character slide a little bit away from him. And, you know, I think any actor that does that is, you know, they have this sense that they need to stay closer to the character and don't let them go.
You know, when you were out doing press, you made a lot of news for your idea for a reunion of the cast of The Office. And I've read a bunch of articles. Now, I will confess up front, this is a blind spot in my pop culture I've never watched The Office. I have friends who say, you've got to watch The Office. What was your concept, and did you think it was going to catch on? Because I've read a bunch of articles about it now.
You have?
Yeah, there are a bunch of articles.
Oh, that surprises me. I went on the Office Girls podcast. I love these girls, Angela and Jenna. And I directed an episode of The Office. It is a legendary show. They took the original from London and made it their own. And Steve Carell and John Krasinski. And yeah, it's a beautifully written show, wonderfully performed, quirky, odd, weird, and sentimental. I don't know. I mean, I probably just stirring the pot a little bit. Some people coming up to me and saying, would you like to see it? I'm sure I'd love to see it. It's like when people during the press for ARGYLLE, people kept coming in the interviews and on the red carpet during our premiere in London. They said, now, can you clarify anything about Taylor Swift writing this story? Is she the writer of ARGYLLE? And just to be an idiot, I would say, well, I can't confirm or deny that statement, which is actually a truthful statement. I can't confirm or deny.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know who wrote it. So.
Well, it came out that two women wrote it together.
Is that right?
Yeah, I read about it today. There was an Australian screenplay writer and a British novelist. They came together because one of them didn't have the time to write it alone. So they joined forces, and the studio allowed the two of them to write it. So
you're breaking news, Sue. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift fans very disappointed right now, though. Very disappointed by the fact that her fingerprints are not on it.
She's the go-to with everything now. Like I always, like, if something is missing or broken in my house, I blame everything on the housekeeper, and she's become the new housekeeper. She's blamed for everything now. It's Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like we certainly have crowned her the queen of American pop culture. I mean, there's no one bigger right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Have you seen her in concert?
Oh my God, have I seen her in concert? No.
See, I've seen her in concert twice. I absolutely. Why are you smirking?
No, I'm just. I'm a little older than you, Steve. I'm in
By
my
the way,
late.
not much.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm in my late 60s now.
Yes,
and
right.
Taylor Swift came along during a different generation, and it's like I think she's immensely talented, but it's not something. I think if I had a granddaughter,
right.
That I would actually want to go to a Taylor Swift concert with my granddaughter. The problem is my granddaughter wouldn't want me to go with her to a
true.
Taylor Swift concert. That's so uncool.
I want to ask you a Breaking Bad question that I've been thinking up.
Oh, I hear that's a good show. Have you ever seen that one?
I did catch that one. I did catch that one. And one of the things I loved about it was, and Sue and I, before we came on, we were just talking about True Detective on HBO on Sunday nights, and totally into that. But it's not this great communal experience. Like, the thing about Breaking Bad, by the time you got to the finale, everybody I knew was watching it. Like it was the zeitgeist. I wonder if we're ever going to have a show that does that again. And aren't we kind of poor for it if it doesn't happen?
I think we are poorer. Yeah, we had something like 10.5 or 11 million people watching in 2013, which is unheard of with all the other distractions that are available to anybody. It's not like the days when 30 million people watched the MASH finale or something.
By the way, it's 100 million people watched the MASH finale.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a Super Bowl number. It's like the 6th highest rated show in history.
Steve?
Yes.
Did you ever watch MASH?
I did watch MASH. Yeah, I was in on that one.
Just checking.
The only one I missed was The Office. The only one.
Oh, you're gonna like that. You're gonna get hooked on it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
And the British one is fun too. Kind of surprised you didn't watch the
Interesting
British one.
How, and this came up if you watch Steve Carell in the pilot episode of The Office, he's more caustic and cynical, more matching Ricky Gervais' character in the British version of The Office. And then it doesn't work it didn't have elasticity. It didn't have the legs to go year after year with that kind of character. So they made an adjustment to him to be more in the vein of a Don Knotts character, which is the classic character of tremendous confidence and very low ability. And so that combination was empathetic, and he ingratiated himself to the audience. And pretty soon you were like, oh my God, that character was just absurd and sweet and naive and obtuse. It was fun to watch.
I just want to share something that I think you'll appreciate. So, and it has to do with Steve not watching The Office, because whenever I think of The Office, I worked on a show many years ago. I was a producer. It was a reality show, and it took place in a newsroom. And the guy, one of the executive producers, was a bonehead. He gave the worst notes. We were actually told by the studio, do not do his notes. Right? It's like, okay, you're putting us in a really precarious situation, because when we show him a cut and we haven't done his notes, he's going to ask us why. And we can't tell him that the network said not to do them. Anyway, when we were watching some of the cuts, we realized that the show, because it was very voyeuristic, was very much like The Office. And we were talking to this idiot guy, and we were saying, it's so much like The Office. And he said, I know, isn't it? And then we found out he never even saw The Office. He just agreed with us.
Wait a minute. Was that guy Steve Mason, that bonehead?
sound the guy that didn't see. I'm the one guy that didn't see The Office. I get shit about it everywhere.
But you're a different kind. You're a lovable bonehead.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Steve.
So, Brian, when I was a little kid, my goal was to be on Broadway. Never got there.
Well, you know what? You're not dead.
Correct. You've been there multiple times. Is your acting different on stage compared to on camera, or is a performance a performance?
Well, it's from a development of the character. It's the same. I don't do anything different when I'm developing a character for stage or film or TV. But it's interesting because in film and television, I've seen the work. On stage, I haven't. So someone will say, what do you think was better, the film version of All the Way or when you did it on stage? I said, well, I only saw the film version. I didn't see the play. Huh, sure. And that's true. It's like you're there. You're so personally involved at that moment. You don't want to have any objectivity as if you're watching yourself on stage. I don't know. The one thing you can know is, are you moving that audience? Our responsibility as actors in the theater is to take an audience on a journey. They paid good money to sit there, and you want to take them. We pick them up and we take them on this ride, and we tell them the story. And sometimes it's harrowing, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's adventurous. And then we leave them back off, 2 hours later or whatever. And we want them to feel like that was a worthy ride. And that's our job. So the only way you can do that is to choose carefully, make sure that the plays that you're selecting are worthy of that. And, I'll do more theater. I'm in discussions right now with doing some more theater, both here and maybe in London. So, yeah.
Have you ever thrown, because, live performance, I did stand up for a long time, and I can do the same joke. And some nights it gets a huge laugh, and some nights they're just not into you. You ever get thrown?
The only time that I was thrown is when you're on stage. Unlike doing stand-up, I did stand-up as well for like 9 months. And I rose to the level of mediocrity. That was my claim to fame. I back in the 80s, there was the Laugh Stop, the Playboy Club, the Improv, the Comedy Store. There were several different places, right? And so I would only do open mic nights because I never should have been paid, nor was I ever paid. So I was just trying to get better and better, and listening to all the stand-ups who came before me. It was, you just got to put in your hours. You got to do the 10,000 hours, and so there I am, just one after another. And I remember I was in Encino at the Laugh Stop over there, and I had my best set ever. I mean, laugh after laugh, and bigger and got bigger and bigger, and crushed. It was about 10:15 at night. I got into my car on a high. I drove as fast as I could to Melrose at the Improv. And I told the guy, look, I'm on fire. I got this. I got it. I finally got it. Please let me go on. He says, well, you can go on at 12:15 unless there's a cancellation. It's like, oh, okay. Well, 12:15 became 12:30, 35. And he finally brings me on. And here he is, man. I come on with the same material, the same energy, nothing. It was, it got titters, and it got your little bit of laughs. It is by far the hardest performance art that I have ever dabbled in. It was sometimes excruciatingly painful. But there's something, talk about going up there without a net. It's you and a microphone and a spotlight. That's it. And there is no such thing as an off night for you. If you have an off night, you're in trouble. But anyway, so when you're on stage doing a play, you're used to seeing the audience look and twist their heads in a horizontal way, as if they're watching a tennis match. They see one actor, then they look over to the other actor responding, then back to this actor. So you're used to that horizontal movement. What you're not used to seeing is a vertical movement, up and down, up and down, up and down. All of a sudden, I started noticing someone dead center, first row, look up and down, looking up and down. And I'm thinking, what could it was distracting. So during a speech, I changed my blocking, and I walked straight down center. And I took a pause as Lyndon Johnson, and I kind of looked down as if I was thinking, and I looked down and I saw that he was on his phone. Oh. There was a kid about 16 years old, and he was on his phone, and he looked up and he looked down. He'd look up and then down again. Look up. And I started getting furious. And I went back to the blocking, and I couldn't help but keep thinking of this kid and what I could do. And then I realized, the next speech I have is really fiery, and I had a habit of expectorating a lot during that speech. And so I changed my blocking when I was doing that speech, and I came right down stage, and I started doing the speech with all the fire in my belly. And I could see the kid looking, you could see the spittle coming out at him like it was, you know, firing over his bow, and he was ducking from one place to another. And I literally was spitting on this kid for doing that. And at the time it felt a little gratifying. But afterward, I was upset with myself because I let some kid who doesn't know any better affect my performance. And that's not professional.
Did you think of stepping out of character? Because I know that I think Lawrence Fishburne did it once, where he stepped out of character to address somebody in the audience. It was
actually,
using the phone. Yeah,
I think that was Wendell Pierce.
Oh, okay.
In Death of a Salesman, and there was someone in the audience who was out of control and talking back, and it was like it was obvious that this play is not going to be able to continue. And Wendell's just stopped it and put her in her place in a way that was firm, but really clever, and said, look, you want to talk about this after, we're going to talk about this after, but right now you're going to sit down and be quiet so the rest of these people who paid good money are going to be, you know, and just kind of scolded her in a way that was very authoritative and but not unkind. It was like enough of that behavior. And but I felt like if I ever get out of LBJ, I would, it's almost like a record skipping. I just feel like I would slide out of control. You know, a lot of it, you mentioned Death of a Salesman. A lot of actors say that's sort of that they want to do their Death of a Salesman. They want to play Willie Loman. And I saw Brian Dennehy do it. I've seen a number of actors do it. Do you have any of that itch? Yeah, you know, I do. There are characters that I'm really attracted to, and as I age, I'm getting into a great place to play those. Lear, of course, is one. Hickey in Long Day's Journey, and of course, Willie is another character. The only thing about that is that you know, it's been done. It's been done a lot. Right. And I'm kind of hesitant to do a character. That's why I've kind of shied away from doing more Shakespeare. To be honest, it feels like I just think people will start saying, well, that Lear is much like the last Lear I saw 3 years ago. And then that Lear before it, and the one before it, and the one. It's like you're stacking up. And I feel like the only reason to do a character in the first place is if you have a take on a character that you haven't seen before, that's like, ooh, I don't think that's been done before. And if you can't find that, if you looked at, I've seen great Lears, and I don't know that I have anything new at this point that I would try to infuse. So I'm not sure that would be something that I would want to take on.
So you talk about, you know, getting older. We're around the same age. I think there's like a year difference. I'm
the youngster on the call.
Wow. You wouldn't know it.
Yes, really. you don't look it. You certainly don't look it.
White hair. Yeah, come on.
Are there certain actors that you've never worked with that you would feel you'd be remiss if you didn't get the opportunity to work with them?
Oh, there's so many. There's just so many. I know Meryl Streep, but I haven't worked with her. Daniel Day-Lewis, I met once, and he's phenomenal. There's so many actors who I am in awe of, and I would love to play with them because I feel like they're all so good that I could learn something from each and every one of them. And that's a true statement. There's no stasis in for me, as I look at a career. I think it just has to keep moving and changing and shifting. So as you age, you add on perhaps a different body movement, or your body changes. So you have to adapt to that. Your energy level changes. You have to adapt to that. You know, I was saying about a granddaughter going to see Taylor Swift. that's the kind of characters that I'm getting into now. It's like, oh, that's the age group. So I just want to embrace it and see what else is out there. But it really has to inspire me. I came up with this 4-step system that helps me decide on projects, and it goes from curious. Well, I can be curious about a script or a subject, and I say, oh, that's kind of curious. Let me lean in a little bit more. And it goes from curious to interested. Oh, I'm really now interested in this subject, and this character is really something. That's the breaking point. If I'm just curious and interested about something, the answer is still no, I'm not going to be a part of that project. It has to transcend into the next level, which is passionate. I have to become passionate about it in order to put all the time and energy that it takes. And it really does take me a lot of time and energy to just myopically focus on that development, because there's a lot of source material to read. There's a lot of imagination. There's a lot of self-reflection about what I want to include, or how he looks and how he walks and talks. And there's just a lot of to go in. And once I get to passionate, I'm in. And then it could go from passionate to obsessed. And that's when you go, I have to do this. I can't not do this. I'm so excited. I've got to do this. You start vibrating. You're so interested. You know?
So we watch a lot of movies. We've seen how much film do you watch? Do you watch a lot of movies? Have you seen a lot of the movies that are nominated for Academy Awards and all that stuff?
I've seen them. I haven't seen all of them. I'm determined to see all of them before the Academy Awards. But I've seen a lot. Yeah.
What did you like? What was the movie that moved you this last year?
I thought I was really moved by Origin. I really thought this is so provocative intellectually and emotionally for this woman and her discoveries, and how it affects society. And Ava DuVernay had a task of being able to tell this story without being didactic, and being able to stay true. It's a movie. It has to be entertaining, but how do I get this information out and still make it entertaining? It was a trick. It was very tricky for her to be able to do that, and she did, exceedingly well. And there was a lot of it. I liked The Holdovers. Naiad. I thought Annette did a fabulous job in that, and Golda with Helen Mirren, and American Fiction. Jeffrey Wright was really that was a fun movie. So what else?
Did you see Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. I really liked it. I thought it moved very quickly. I mean, for whatever was 3 hours plus,
3.5. Yeah.
I thought he did a really terrific job. I think it's probably odds-on favorite to win.
Yes, for sure. And I think Christopher Nolan wins.
Yep. And Cillian Murphy wins.
You know what? I wonder if he does. Like, I think Giamatti's going to have a lot of support, because he's worked with a lot of people, and you don't know when you're going to get in that spot again. In the SAG Awards, I wound up voting for Bradley Cooper, who I thought was blew me away as Leonard Bernstein.
He was terrific. It just shows you the depth of his talent. And it was, directed so beautifully as well. I'm thrilled to see what he's been able to do, and I'm excited to see what he does next. It's such a tough thing, is it his turn? I don't know. Could be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I think it was overall a very good year. I like some of the smaller movies. I don't know if you've seen there's a movie called Past Lives, Korean film that is fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
or
Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall. That's another one.
I love that. That was great.
Oh God, that was
such
great.
a smart movie, and she was amazing in that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Saltburn?
Saltburn, I did, and that was
fun.
that was a journey.
That was an adventure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I must say, I enjoyed it.
So you grew up in LA as a Dodgers fan, and
Good segue once again. Great
another
segue.
one. Yeah,
Just
another
a
left
gem.
turn. Yeah.
Wait, I want to ask you, have you done segues before?
I try. I do my best.
right,
I still haven't seen The Office, by the way. Still have not seen The Office.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you call a callback. Let's go back and talk about that.
So they dropped a pool 1.2 billion. Are you feeling? How optimistic are you?
Look, I'm loving it. I wrote to Clayton Kershaw the other day when he was announced that he's coming back. I'm a huge fan of his, and I'm so glad he's back. I think the Dodgers will win their division. They better. The level of expectations now is that they need to get deep. They need to get to the World Series. Do they need to win the World Series to be a successful?
Yes.
Well, yeah, maybe. But what a position to be put in.
Yeah, I know.
It all comes down to this. What's so interesting is that in every major sport, it comes down to two things: health and hot. What team is hot and who's the healthiest? And, what we keep seeing, the Dodgers had that week off. The Orioles had a week off. That's what happens. You don't necessarily, the best team isn't necessarily in the finals because they're not hot at the right time. They have 3 games to remain hot. If they don't get it, they're out.
Yep.
So you have to look at, in baseball, 162 games. The Dodgers could win 110 games this year.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Are they hot and are they healthy for those 3 games? And if they're not, they'll be gone again.
Yeah, that was very disappointing.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
To say the least.
Yeah.
So I know that you collect a lot of memorabilia. You have a lot of baseball memorabilia. I'm a huge baseball fan as well. And I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I met you, when we didn't see one another, that's when a lot of the new rules came out.
Oh boy.
And I was anti a lot of the rules, and you made fun of me, and you actually said, "This is you, Sue. Get off my lawn."
Yeah.
So I have some memorabilia, but I want to know, what is your most prized possession that you have?
I will say this. This is the power of the media. I am not really a collector.
Okay.
I'm not really a collector of anything except memories. I like experiences and memories. So I did an interview once 20 years ago, and the person came over to my house and they said, "Can I see your office?" And oh, okay. I had just had, I think, my 50th birthday or something. I forget, 40th or 50th. And people knew that I was a huge Dodger fan, a big baseball fan. So what to get the person who's a baseball fan? We'll get them baseball. And I had cards and a banner and old books in it. And so I guess I put them in my office somewhere. And the person came up and saw them and said, "Oh, you're a collector." And I said, "Oh, not really." But it got into the interview. "Oh, he's a big memorabilia collector." And then it's like, then I started getting contacted by professional collectors and saying, "Hey, I've got a full set of this team from this year." And I go, I think it's part of me not being interested in living in the past too much. I don't like to hold on to things. I like to be a little looser. And in fact, the older I get, the less things that I want. I don't. They start to feel more and more like an albatross or something, and it's not something that I want have. So but that being said, I do have a jersey signed by about 9 of the 500 home run club.
Wow.
There's a few now that I'm missing. I guess someone else will have to collect those.
So the coolest thing that I have, I became very good friends with Tom Candiotti and his wife many years ago when he played for the Dodgers. And
name dropper.
Yeah.
Well, Donna Candiotti, yes. So he gave me a signed picture of himself, and he wrote, "Dear Sue, I heard you like it low and inside. Love, Tom."
Man.
And I cherish that.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a pretty damn good line.
You know, the baseball memorabilia thing reminds me of how you're going to retire when are you going to retire when you're 75? Is that the story that got out there?
That's another thing. I was doing an interview for GQ and for something we were promoting. And I said, well, what's going on? I said, well, I've been working for the past 26 years nonstop. And while that's all great, I think I'm becoming depleted of new, fresh ideas. And I might be becoming derivative of myself. And I feel like at some point I need to hit the pause button. I need to have a reset to get more life experience. So I may take some time off for a while and then and see how that feels, and maybe learn a language and learn how to cook and, reestablish a more equitable relationship with my wife, because in this business, they tend to elevate the celebrity and diminish the partner.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, I don't, the plus one. And, there were times on the red carpet where they go, can you move? Can you move out of the way?
Yeah.
It's like, I just did. And so it's time. I think I want to just, make some adjustments. So that comment got to the point where he's going to hit the pause button. He needs a reset, a retirement of sorts. And I went, who added that word? And then someone took that word and put it in the headline, Bryan Cranston's going to retire. And I was like, oh my God, I've had to backpedal on that so many times. It's like, no. But it's okay. I wasn't too shocked because media has a tendency to do that.
Oh yeah. So that's funny you mentioned. I talked to Robin the last time I saw her, and I had done a big speech for who we call Vaughn, thanking him for everything at a party. And she said to me, because he was relating to Vaughn a little bit, she said, it's hard to be the person behind the person. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Like Vaughn describes himself as the CEO of Steve Mason Inc. He's my advisor. He's my partner. He runs the house. And I'm out there performing while he's doing a lot of the work and advising me and stuff. But the person behind the person is a thing.
It's a real thing. And it's like being a caretaker. You don't get the accolades. When you go to a home and you have a friend who is ill, all the attention goes to the friend. Like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? But the person who's actually taking care of that person is a hero. Yeah. And that's, in some sense, that's kind of what it's like for the partner of a celebrity. And it's not easy. It's an inequitable position to be in. So it's up to us then to shift it and make sure that we take that apart and disassemble that structure so that we can meet on the same plane.
Yeah.
Are you doing that?
I am. I'm doing everything I can.
All right.
Yeah, everything I can. I'll make one last bad transition. What are you doing next? I looked at your IMDb page. ARGYLLE is the top thing. What's the next thing? I
don't know.
You taking a break, Bryan?
Yeah, I'm going to retire. Yes. I'm going to do a marathon watching The Office.
Nice.
Yeah.
As will I.
Okay. And no. I don't know. There are several irons in the fire, some theater things in the works, some movie options for me. And, so it's just, I'm okay with not doing it. I don't want to work to keep busy. I don't need to do that. I only want to do things that I'm passionate about. Oh, I'm busy with Dos Hombres, the mezcal.
Oh, of course.
That's going incredibly well. So
now the official mezcal of SoFi Stadium. I had a mezcalita the last time I was there for a Rams game.
Yeah, Dos Hombres. Yeah, it's been great. And my partner Aaron Paul is just a fabulous human being, and we have a great time together. And we hit the road, and we're building this business, and it's now the number 5 mezcal in the world, and we're excited about that. And we want to make it the number 1 mezcal. So we're out. I mean, it takes a lot of work, but we're very passionate about it, and we love it. So it doesn't feel like work, but it just takes up time. And I'd rather do that than I just don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to do a movie that I thought, I wasn't sure that I wanted to do this, and I'm doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I want to say I'm in a unbelievably great place to be, where I'm privileged. I understand that. I accept that. There's no question about it. Not just privileged male, but a white privileged male. And I completely accept that I have taken full advantage of that. And maybe at some point it's like, I think I should move over and create a space for new voices to come in and tell their stories. And if I can be a team player to help tell those stories, I think that might be the next move to make. I'd like to see what else is out there if the world were truly in an equitable position and people of color and more women were involved in decision making. By God, we can sure use more women in positions of power and decision making. And so I think that might be something on the horizon for me.
Nice. Well, it's been great catching up, man. It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. You only do things you're passionate about, so I assume that this podcast is one of them.
Well, there are times that you do something, you say yes, and then all of a sudden you go, why did I do that? Why did I say yes?
Why did I agree?
God.
Too late to cancel.
Thanks, man. It's great seeing you. Argyle's in theaters all over the place. Oh, last thing. Let's look stupid. This will come out after the Super Bowl. What happened?
God, it's hard to bet against Mahomes. It really is. I think you'd be a fool to. Christian McCaffrey may be the difference there. They're really equally matched, I think. But I have to give the edge to Kansas City. And the reason is Mahomes over Purdy. The depth of experience there, I think, is going to make the difference. The quarterback in the NFL is the one position, as we've talked about before, that's the most important single position in all of sports, I think, in team sports. And when you look at the Super Bowl and all that hype is behind it, Purdy is awful young, and will he be able to rise above nerves and I don't know, but we know that Mahomes can. He can rise above injury. He can rise above nerves. The guy's he's just a stud. And because of that, I'm going to give the edge to, and this is going to air after that?
After the Super Bowl, yes.
So it was fantastic to see Patrick Mahomes bring the Chiefs all the way to a victory, and they pulled it out as we knew they would.
You know what I like the best? I like how after Kansas City won, Taylor Swift was down on the field with Travis Kelce, and he proposed to her.
Yeah.
And then she opened her Kansas City jacket and it said, "Vote Joe Biden." Have you heard?
Unbelievable.
This? I thought it was amazing.
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. So all those pundits were actually right.
They were right.
I just want to say that I was really glad that San Francisco got redemption.
Oh no. Anybody but the Niners, Sue. Wow.
I
I'm a
told
Rams
you,
fan.
Steve,
Anybody but the Niners.
I've got a lot of family in San Francisco.
Oh, that's right.
And to me, KC, they're kind of, because I hated the Patriots for so many years, they're like the new Patriots. You know, I would just like to see the 49ers win.
Okay, so Sue, that's a very emotional standpoint. Now, what does your intellect say? You are an insider on this. Who do you think, if you were putting $10,000 on the line of your own money, who would you bet on?
I probably would bet on KC, but I want the 49ers to win.
There you go. So there's the head and there's the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bryan, great seeing you, man. Thanks for coming on. We'll do this again sometime. And Argyle, all that stuff. Can't wait to see what you do next, man.
It's a lot of fun. Go see that movie. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Sue.
There you have it. There's Bryan Cranston, always congenial, and I've known him for years, and such a great guy. And I never noticed that he had resting angry face until I actually had it pointed out to me by him. Resting mean face, I think, was the phrase.
Resting mean face. You have to invite me when you're hanging out with him one of these days.
Yes.
And he would be one of those people where I would break my drydom and have a drink with.
There you go. A Dos Hombres mezcal.
Yes.
Have you had the Dos Hombres?
I have not.
I'm going to get him to send you a bottle.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really, really, you know what I like about it is, you'll like that we're talking about this too, is that, like, for example, instead of a margarita, you have a mezcalita. And it's got this kind of nice, savory, smoky flavor to it, as opposed to the sweetness of a margarita. Mm-hmm. Absolutely delicious.
So when you send it to me, will you wrap it in my Culture Pod sweatshirt?
Oh, God. It's sitting right there.
It's always sitting there.
I can see it from where I am.
I want to see it. I want you to show it to me because I don't think you have it.
Right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, hang on. Just talk for a minute.
This may be the only way I see it.
Yeah, you'll at least see it. Let me see. We're right on the studio, so I'm digging around, but here it is. As promised. So?
Yeah. Oh, hi. Hello, sweatshirt.
It's especially for this time of year, it's great. I've been wearing mine nonstop.
Oh, yeah. You know, I would be wearing mine if I had it.
I will get it to you. I will get it to you, along with a bottle of Dos Hombres. So if you're listening, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Again, 5-star rating, positive review, always helpful. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We always have great guests. Bryan Cranston, fantastic today. And everything you do, recommend the show. That's the other thing you can do. Recommend the show to somebody who you think would be into it as we continue to build this thing out. I seriously, Sue, am so committed to this. I think I'll be doing this show after I leave ESPN. I think we'll still be doing this show.
And when are you leaving ESPN?
I'm planning on 2028.
Oh, okay. 4 more years. 4 more years.
4 more years, yeah.
4 more years.
I want my last thing to be the Olympics in LA.
Okay.
In 2028. Because I love the Olympics. I'm so excited about them coming here. Okay. All right, well, there you have it. Great show. Thanks very much for watching and for listening. Sue, great seeing you. And we will see everybody next time on the Culture Pod Podcast.